Hi, friends. Welcome to Girls Night. I'm so glad you're here because today's episode is really special. This season, we've been talking about those moments in life when you look around and think, this is not what I ordered. There have been so many times for me along the road to motherhood and in motherhood itself where I've stood there thinking that exact same thing. The timing, the emotions, trying to get pregnant, the reality of life with twins. The process didn't always go according to plan or how I imagined it. But here we are, and somehow, incredibly, this week my twins are turning 5. I cannot believe it. So I've been doing a lot of reflecting these days, thinking about what I've learned, what surprised me, what I wish I could go back and tell myself before stepping into this season. And a few weeks ago, as a part of that reflection, I sat down and wrote 4 letters to the woman I was before becoming a mom. These letters are for that season between, are we ready? And, okay, this is really happening. And if you're there right now, planning, trying, pregnant, or just wondering if you're ever going to feel ready, I hope that these words meet you exactly where you are and help you as much as I know they would have helped me. If you actually want to get physical copies of these letters, you can. I put them into a free email series. You can read them, share them with a friend, and you can get your copies at stephaniemaywilson.com/letters. Okay, you ready? Here's the first one. So letter 1 is to the woman asking, who will I be after becoming a mom? Here's the letter. Hey friend, I know how much you love your life right now. The work you've built, the freedom you've fought for, the version of yourself you're so proud to get to see in the mirror. And that's why this question feels so heavy. Who will I be after I become a mom? Everyone tells you that everything will change, and you believe them because you've seen it happen. You've watched women you admire disappear into motherhood. You've heard the jokes about old yoga pants and cold coffee and wondered if that's the price of admission. But here's what I want you to know. Motherhood will change you, but it doesn't have to erase you. You don't have to vanish to make space for someone new. You get to bring her, the woman you are right now, with you. Your humor, your curiosity, your creativity, your ambition, your friendships, your quirks, all of it. Motherhood isn't a costume you squeeze into. It's a canvas, and you get to bring your own paint. You can approach motherhood with the same creativity and intentionality you bring to everything else in your life. You don't have to do it someone else's way. You get to do it your way. Because your kids, they don't need that person to be their mom, and they don't need a perfect super mom version of you. They just need you. Motherhood isn't about disappearing. It's about expansion. It's about stretching your capacity for love and grace and patience, but also the boundaries of what your life can hold. There will be moments when you lose your footing, when days blur together, when your body feels different, when you're not sure which part of you belongs where anymore. But that won't last forever. It won't. It won't last forever. And when the fog starts to clear, you'll see that you didn't lose yourself. You became more of yourself. The truest, deepest parts of you, your tenderness, humor, creativity, strength, will all find new ways to come alive. You're not stepping out of your life to become someone else. Motherhood will help you step further into yourself. And that version of you, she's extraordinary. Writing that letter reminded me of how many of us need to hear that, and truly how, deeply and desperately I needed to hear those words. Motherhood doesn't erase you. It expands you. You don't have to trade in your identity for your kids. You get to bring it with you. So now for letter 2. Letter 2 is for the woman who loves her marriage and who is quietly wondering what having kids will do to it. Because everyone warns you, right? They say that the sleepless nights will stretch you to your limits, that romance will fade, that you'll barely have time to talk, much less connect, that things will never go back to how they were. When I think back to those early days when Carl and I were first starting to talk about having a family, this was one of my biggest fears. I was worried that the things we built together would be lost in the chaos of it all, that adding a new human, or 2 in our case, would change us, and that while we'd gain a lot, we might lose the things that make us us. Well, if I could go back and tell that version of myself what I know now, here's what I would say. Hey, Steph, people tell you marriage is hard and they're not wrong, but nobody ever explains why. Here's what I've learned. Marriage is like a three-legged race. You've tied yourselves together and now you're learning to move in sync. Same pace, same direction. Sometimes you're perfectly in rhythm and sometimes you're stepping on each other's toes. But having a baby, it's like signing up for a three-legged Tough Mudder. You're still tied together, but now you're running uphill through mud, jumping over obstacles, crawling under barbed wire. You're doing everything you used to do, but now it's harder and messier and there's more at stake. You have at least twice the obstacles you used to have, and you're trying to tackle them together, and that's why it's so hard. But here's what I wish I could go back and tell you. It won't be this hard forever. Not only that, but this experience is the kind of thing that forges you, that builds up a sense of pride and partnership stronger than almost anything else you'll do together. It reminds me of this one moment from before we were married. Carl was moving into a new apartment, 3rd floor, no elevator. And he had this queen mattress that he needed to get up the stairs, and the person who was helping him? Me. We fought the whole way up. It was heavy, it didn't fit around the corners, it honestly felt impossible. And at one point, I think we actually reenacted the pivot scene from Friends, but we were not laughing. Well, when we finally got to the top, sweaty and exhausted, we just stood there laughing, and we couldn't believe we'd done it. And for the last 13 years, whenever we hit something hard, something that feels like too much, we've said, hey, we got the mattress up the stairs. What can't we do? The first year with our twins was the exact same thing. We were sweaty and exhausted and snapped at each other more than I wish we did. Listen, nobody is nice on no sleep. But now, with a little bit of distance, we look back and say the same thing. Look what we did. And I know when we look back on our lives as a whole, our little girls and the family we've built and the team we've become, this will be the greatest thing we've ever done. But if I could give you one piece of advice to carry with you into this season, it's this. Do the work now. Talk about what you each hope this next chapter will look like. Get clear on your dreams for your family, your roles, your responsibilities, your support system. Because if you don't define them now, they will be as clear as mud when the baby arrives. And that's when resentment starts to take root. That's when bad habits start to form. But if you go into this as a team, if you keep talking through all of it, even the messy parts, you'll make it through together. And on the other side, you'll have time for date nights again. Your body will feel like your own again. You'll get to a place where bedtime is a routine instead of an Olympic sport / also an art. And you'll get to go to dinner and laugh and be people again. This coming up might not be the most romantic or easy season of your life or your marriage, but I promise you, it will be one of the most meaningful. It's the season you'll look back on together and say, look what we did together. I loved writing that letter because as we're sitting here, our girls turning 5 this week, that's one of the things that we've been talking about the most is look what we made together. Look what we did together. And also getting to feel the gratitude and hints of relief also at the fact that we feel like us. Still, but also again, we made it through and we're still us and we're even better than we were before. All right, now for letter 3. This letter is for the woman who's feeling afraid, the one who wants to believe that everything will be okay, but can't help imagining all the ways that it might not be. Maybe you're afraid you'll never get pregnant. Maybe you're trying right now and wondering, will this ever happen for us? Or maybe you're already pregnant and you're holding your breath, pressing refresh one more time on that website with the miscarriage probability statistics, hoping it'll tell you beyond the shadow of a doubt that your baby will be okay. I remember doing that. I remember lying in bed at night, scrolling through every statistic and story I could find, trying to find some certainty in something that just absolutely can't give it. When my dad found out how much I was worrying, I was about 8 weeks pregnant at the time, and our twins were literally the size of gummy bears. He said something I'll never forget. He said, Steph, you're always going to worry about your kids, whether they're the size of gummy bears or full grown adults. That's part of being a parent. That's the price of admission. You'll love them so much that you'll want to protect them from everything. But you can't let that fear hold you captive. It'll keep you from really living, and it'll keep them from really living too. Of course, he was right. Having kids means opening your heart to the reality that you can't control everything and choosing to live with an open heart anyway. Well, another thing I was worried about at the time, deeply worried about, and I know I'm not alone in this, was the world itself. I found out I was pregnant at the end of March 2020. The world was literally on fire, and it would stay that way for a really long time. And I remember sitting in our little house watching the headlines scroll, feeling the weight of it all and thinking, what am I doing? Why did I think that bringing kids into this world was a good idea? I told my dad that, and he said, I know the world feels heavy right now, feels violent and unpredictable and full of uncertainty, but I want you to know this isn't new. And so then one day, not long after that, he sat down and wrote me a letter that I will cherish forever. And so instead of me writing you a letter for letter 3, I wanted to share the letter that my dad wrote to me. He and I have had versions of this conversation many times over the years, but I'm so glad he put it in writing. It's helped me more than I can say, and I hope it meets you where you are too. So this letter's from my dad. He said, Hey, Steph, every generation has stood right where you're standing and asked this same question. Is it wise to bring a child into a world like this? Your great-grandparents asked it as they fled from one country to another, leaving behind everything familiar, crossing oceans with small children and no promise of safety on the other side. Your grandparents asked it after growing up in the Great Depression, being raised beside railroad tracks, shaking snow off their blankets in the morning. Their parents were trying to keep food on the table when 1 in 4 people were out of work. My parents asked it too, and so did your mom and I. As kids, we were taught to duck under our desks in case of an atomic bomb attack. Later in college, I remember sitting in the fraternity house watching TV with my friends, waiting for our draft numbers to be called for Vietnam. Mine was, and so were most of theirs. And yet even then, even in those times of fear and chaos, people fell in love, got married, built homes, planted gardens, and raised children who grew up to do the same. If history has taught us anything, it's that there's never been a perfectly safe or certain time to bring a new life into the world. But even so, there have been people who choose to love and build and hope anyway. The world has always been hard, and it always will be. But it's also always been full of good, kind, brave people. It's going to need more of them, people like your kids, just like it needs you now. I love you with all my heart, Dad. The amount of times I've cried over that letter cannot be counted. I love his words because they remind me that fear and uncertainty have been present since the beginning of time, but courage has been there too. Every generation has had to make this same choice, to bring new life into an uncertain world and say, we'll find a way. And you and I, are the latest link in that chain, another generation of women who are scared and hopeful all at once. And so if you're holding hope in one hand and fear in the other, know that you are in good company. Together, we can acknowledge the chaos and still build something beautiful. Okay, then here's letter number 4. And this is to the woman who's wondering, am I going to mess this up? One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot lately is how easy it is to doubt ourselves, especially when it comes to motherhood. And so this last letter is the last thing I wish I could go back and say to myself before I became a mom. And if you are wondering whether you're going to mess this up too, I hope this reminds you you're not alone and that you're more ready than you think. Okay, here's the letter. Dear Steph, I know that you're afraid you're going to mess this up. I know how often you wonder, what if I'm not cut out for this? What if I repeat the same mistakes my parents made? Or if I can't give my kids the good things they gave me? What if I'm too selfish, too anxious, too tired, too late? The stakes feel impossibly high, and the world is not helping. Because everywhere you turn, there's another expert, promising that they've cracked the code, the perfect sleep schedule, the perfect feeding plan, the perfect parenting framework that will save your child from lifelong therapy. And while they're shouting from every corner of the internet, you're just trying to make the next real life decision. You're terrified that a single wrong move might ruin everything. And to make matters worse, everyone acts like motherhood is something that's supposed to download to you automatically. But when exactly? Like at your own birth? Or at your baby's birth? I remember looking around after they placed the twins on my chest, waiting for that motherly instinct, that maternal wisdom to just download into my brain. And it just didn't. But here's what I've learned since. The ability to be a great mom isn't something you download. It's something you develop. You don't wake up one day just knowing how to do this. You grow into it. One diaper, one midnight feeding, one decision at a time. There are a few things that feel like superpowers, like hearing your baby from a mile away or the mom reflex that kicks in every time they're about to fall. But everything else, the confidence, the calm, the ability to lead your family with intention, those things come slowly through reflection and growth and grace. It's not just about learning what to do, but about understanding why you do it. Learning how your own story has shaped you and how you want to write the next chapter differently. Because if we don't pause and do that inner work first, we end up replaying the patterns we swore we wouldn't. We parent from our past instead of peace. But there's another way. You can decide right now the kind of mother you want to be. You can create the culture of your home before you're standing in it, sleep deprived and overwhelmed. You can filter out the noise and make choices that actually fit your values, your story, and what you want to be true about your little family. That's what becoming mama is all about. It's the preparation that helps you break unhealthy cycles before they start and build emotional, relational, and practical foundations for your family that feel whole and aligned with who you are. Because yes, you'll figure out diapers and nap schedules and swaddles as you go, but becoming the kind of mother you want to be, that's something worth preparing for. When you do that work ahead of time, motherhood stops feeling like a test you might fail and starts feeling like a life you're ready to live. You've got this. Not because you already know how, but because you're willing to learn. And that's what good mothers do. All my love, Stephanie. Friend, this is where these letters lead, is to the course that my best friend and I created together, Becoming Mama. When I was preparing for motherhood, I desperately wished that someone would hand me a roadmap, not another checklist, but a guide to prepare emotionally and relationally and financially and practically. And so I got together with my best friend, Kelsey, who also happens to be a brilliant licensed therapist. And together we created that roadmap. Becoming Mama is the map we wished we'd had. A values-driven, grace-filled plan to help you step into motherhood with confidence and peace. In the course, you'll learn how to build the emotional, relational, and spiritual foundation that you'll need for this new chapter. In the course, we'll help you strengthen your marriage or your partnership before baby arrives. We'll help you clarify your vision for work and family so that they can thrive together. We'll help you make smart, stress-free financial plans for your family. And we'll help you prepare your body and your heart and your mind and your soul for the change that's coming. The course feels like sitting down with your big sister and your therapist all at the same time, the ones who know what you need to hear and what you need, and also the things you don't and can forget about. And right now, doors to the course are open, but only for a few more days. Enrollment closes on November 23rd at 11:59 p.m. PST. But when you join us before then, if you can make it in before the deadline, you get a giant bonus collection of videos that are so good. We are so in love with them. And access to our live January community, all for free. You can get started with the course today for just $37. And there's a 14-day guarantee, so you can check out the course without any risk if it turns out to not be a good fit. Friend, you have worked too hard to walk into motherhood unprepared. You deserve to enter this season from a place of peace, not panic. When you prepare with intention, you make decisions with clarity and calm. You build the kind of motherhood that feels like you, steady, grounded, and full of grace and love. You don't have to figure this out alone. I think it's way too hard to figure out alone, so please don't. And that's exactly what Becoming Mama is here for. We would love to help you through this. You can learn more and sign up at stephaniemaywilson.com/becomingmama. That's stephaniemaywilson.com/becomingmama. And don't forget, registration is open for just a few more days. And if you join us before the 23rd of November, you'll also get to join our free community, where in January we'll walk through the first module together. And you get a whole collection of bonus videos and content that is so good, you're not going to want to miss it. Friend, thank you so much for letting me share these letters and this part of my heart with you today. Thanks for sitting with me and reflecting on 5 years of parenthood and many more years of the transition into parenthood. I can't believe we're here. I can't believe all that's happened. I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for where we've gotten to and the family we've built. And I'm just so honored to get to share the things that we've learned along the way that have helped us do exactly that. Wherever you are on the path, planning, trying, pregnant, please know you are not alone. Don't forget that if you want to see the letters or have a copy of them or send them to a friend, you can get them at stephaniemaywilson.com/letters. And just know I'm in your corner. And I will see you next week for another episode of Girls Night.